it's Ange coming into your inbox this morning. Today I want to talk about habits, and I'm reading this great book about changing habits, so when I finish it and re-go back through it, I'll put in some strategies how we can change habits. So eating for a healthy gut is around habits, and I see this over and over in clinic. I have people that come in and say, oh look, I do eat healthy, but I've had lots of parties on, and I've had lots of weddings and things, and I've fallen off the wagon, and then I've just decided, it'll be what it will be. So a couple of things. About 20 years ago, I was in a habit with a mother's group that I was in. We would go out every Thursday night and have a few drinks. One Thursday night got particularly out of control, and I don't remember coming home. So my husband actually found me on the front lawn, which is not a pleasant thing to admit. And my father always had problems with alcohol, so, and not that he was alcoholic, but he would always struggle with it. So for me, that was the point about 18 years ago, hi Serby, that I decided that I wouldn't drink. And I don't drink at all, but I do see people that come in and say, yeah, I sort of don't drink unless there's a special occasion, which is terrific. But when you choose, you're making a conscious choice not to drink, and when you choose that, be mindful of, I have people say, I don't choose to drink except on the weekends. But then you ask them, so what does that look like? And the weekends start on Thursday and end on Tuesday. So things just move forward. So if you find that you're taking things on like eating cake or having gluten, and I'm a big one for this too, because I love chai almond milk lattes, and I know that they're really high in calories, and I'm just about to go through menopause, so I'm trying to recalibrate how many carbs I have all the time. So I just go, I'll have one a week, but then I can be going for a coffee with somebody, and because I don't drink coffee, chai is my drink of choice, and then I just add them on. And then my trainer goes, well, you haven't really stayed the same weight this week. Well, that would be from all my chai lattes. And so, look, I have the choice to go, no, I'm going to have a different sort of tea today. And I think we get caught up in that habit and of just going to what we know. So, there's a couple of things to think about here. When you are eating for your gut health, as long as you are remembering to eat consistently, and I always suggest 3 meals a day unless you really suffer from low blood sugar, because I think at 3 meals a day, if they contain all the prerequisites for a good meal, fat, fiber and protein, that means that will keep you fuller longer. It'll keep your blood pressure, your blood sugar levels stable, so you won't feel hungry, and you'll eat less just because of that. So if you can get those things back on track to be having a meal that has that is really good. Another thing to think about too in those meals is, sure, in the afternoon, if you're going to a birthday party, you're doing something and there's some cake, eat the cake, because the more you stress about not eating the cake, the more damage you do to your bacteria. So if it's a special occasion or somebody's baked it especially for you, I have no problem with people eating the cake. I think because food for me is about enjoyment and about love with our families and about all those things. So being able to enjoy that without the guilt, I think, is a really terrific thing. But then saying, if you're having cake every day, look at the surrounding of cakes. Are you in an environment where there is too much of a good thing? Because that can certainly happen. Do you need to rein back in what is a special occasion? Because somebody's hit their 10,000 step marks, not necessarily a cause for celebration. And we tend to have an all or nothing mentality when it comes to food. I'm either all in or I'm all out. And that doesn't need to be the case. So you can certainly moderate where you are on the spectrum. So adding things in like lots of veg. My thing is, if you're eating lots of veg every day, your gut will be in good shape. If you're having a small amount of oil every day, your gut will be in good shape. Not high amounts, because high amounts tend to sway some of the hydrogen sulfide bacteria to take over, and so that's not a good thing. So the other thing is, I see a lot of people in clinic that don't eat fruit, and to me, fruit is such an abundance of polyphenols, and gut bacteria love polyphenols, so I think that's worth investigating. So they're all things that I think are pretty important. Also, be mindful of how much meat you're eating. A meat can also... hi, Deb. Hope Fiji is fantastic. So meat is problematic for a lot of people who have gut dysbiosis because it can also feed the bacteria that will push you over into more hydrogen sulfide, which means you could have gas and pain and bloating and those sorts of things. So trying to, palm-sized quality of meat, but really good quality meat. And it doesn't have to be lots of meat. For us as a family, sometimes we do small pieces of lamb fillets, and I might get 3, and for 5 of us, that will do all 5 of us. So it's not about how much meat, it's about the way you put the plate together. It's about having a bit of protein and lots of veg with a little bit of some oil that will cause satiety, because it's the oil that helps you stay fuller for longer. You just don't want bucket loads of it. So there are a couple of things. Dessert, I often get asked about dessert and what are my thoughts on dessert. I think dessert can be a good thing depending on what it is. And I don't think dessert's a thing that you need to have every day. If you can do, if you can have it once a week as a treat, that would be fantastic as well. So they're the things that I think people should start on. And if you fall off the wagon, doesn't mean you should give up on it. You should just come back and rewatch. Hi, Mina. You should just come back and, so the next meal you have, get that fat, fibre and protein back into play. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water. I saw a young guy yesterday who suffers from chronic constipation, and I think I have this little trick where I give you a glass of water. Serby, you'll know this. And I don't give you the glass of water because I think you're thirsty. I give you the glass of water to see how much water you drink. And he didn't drink the glass of water at all, and I sort of pointed that out to him and said, look, you haven't drank that water, and I put it here for this reason, to see that you are going to drink water. And he didn't have a sip of it the whole time. So I know that's a real area for him that we need to work on, because he's not doing that. Mina, I hear that some days your gut plays up for no reason. Some days that is going to happen, and I think some days you need to step back and go, well, what's happening in my life today? Is there or today, yesterday, the day before, have I eaten something that hasn't agreed with me? Is my stress level higher than it would be normally? Am I taking enough time to do things for myself, or am I just feeling like I'm doing everything for everybody else? And on top of that, there could be some dysbiotic bacteria at play that could be a possibility as well. So I do get that some days people just have, random events happen. But I think trying to get... triggers for people with stress, it's totally a thing. None of us want to think that we're stressed. And I think what happens with us as a society, we're all so stressed for so long, we no longer recognize that we're stressed. And your body can sustain that for a little while, but it can't do it forever. And I see this particularly with clients that sit like this. Their shoulders are and their neck almost joined together, so it's about getting people to relax and also things you see. My daughter came home the other day and she said, oh, Mum, I've just witnessed this really big car accident. So what happens when you witness a car accident? You go, like that. So you take all that stress into your body, and it stores in your tissues and maintains, in your tissues. So that can that can be a stress response too, and as you build on that over and over and over for years and years and years, that can build up and take a physiological effect on your body. So it's best to get those things out, and I think in those circumstances, using things like bark flowers, rescue remedy, those sorts of things are really useful for that, because things that happen in our day-to-day life absolutely go into our body, and we hold on to that. And even though we're not consciously aware of that, our body is aware of it. So there's some tips for you. So hopefully that's been helpful today. I will see you on Monday. I look forward to it. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.